Yeah, so apparently everything's coming out about Kamala Harris and as to who she really was and what happened with Anderson Cooper on CNN. And she's having like a meltdown on stage. Yeah, apparently. Let's see what's going on here on stage.
As I said, I think your best work is ahead of you for sure, 100%. Um,
I am unemployed right now. No one must speak truth.
Oh, did you guys hear that? Yeah, so apparently she's unemployed right now. She has nothing going on, I guess. And he says that her best work is ahead of her. And I think she makes this joke because of everything that's pretty much happening that's coming out. Apparently, she called it's like a huge story for some reason that she called Anderson Cooper a mother effer after she was asked about that whole. Remember how the whole scenario happened after the debate with Trump and Biden, with the whole world pretty much. We already knew that Joe Biden was not functioning correctly. But apparently, during that interview that they had, and I don't know if you guys remember, but there was an interview, the world's most famous interview between Kamala Harris and Anderson Cooper. And apparently, during that, after that, she got so mad. She got so mad. Let's take a listen.
A panic inside the Democratic Party right now because of President Biden's performance in tonight's debate. He's been hearing from Democratic lawmakers and others around the country. Some within your own party are wondering if President Biden should even step aside. What do you say to that?
Listen, first of all, what we saw tonight is the president making a very clear contrast with Donald Trump on all of the issues that matter to the American people. Yes, there was a slow start, but it was a strong finish. And what became very clear through the course of the night is that Joe Biden is fighting on behalf of the American people, on substance, on policy, on performance. Joe Biden is extraordinarily strong. And
I'm sorry, on
cannot
substance
be
and
debated.
policy and performance tonight. I mean, the president's performance tonight clearly was disappointing for his supporters. CNN is reporting Democratic lawmakers watching the debate were worried about the president's performance. One said it was a disaster. Another called it a train wreck. Those are Democrats, especially worried that Biden did not punch.
So she's getting mad here, right? And maybe this is why she doesn't have a job, because this might be the most complicit human being when it comes to the biggest scandal in the history of the United States, which is everybody hiding the fact that Joe Biden was a very sick individual. He didn't know where he was at most of the time. He was suffering from some type of dementia, or again, just suffering. Like he just wasn't supposed to be on stage that night in the first place. He didn't drop out before that. And she's getting mad here. And apparently she lost her mind after this interview because he was asking hard questions. Now, what the scariest part about all of this is that she's on stage saying that she's unemployed and making jokes about it. And obviously everything has come out. But people are still pushing Kamala Harris to go and take over California after Gavin Newsom, right? She's like a favorite in the odds. So are you trusting someone that basically this night lost her mind because she got pressured? Anderson Cooper finally did his job. I mean, just listen to Anderson Cooper.
Punch back on Trump's lies.
Listen, people can debate on style points, but ultimately this election and who is the president of the United States has to be about substance. And the contrast is clear. Look at what happened during the course of the debate. Donald Trump lied over and over and over again, as he is wont to do. He would not disavow what happened on January 6th. He would not give a clear answer on whether he would stand by the election results this November. He went back and forth about where he stands on one of the most critical issues of freedom in America, which is the right of a woman to make decisions about their own body. He has been completely ambiguous and all over the place about where he stands on that issue, despite the fact that he hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And that's exactly what they did. And just 3 years ago.
So again, she got confronted about the cognitive decline and the dangers that basically opposed the party, and the fact that Joe Biden had a mental breakdown during that debate. And here she is going off on a limb, very mad. She's very angry at Anderson Cooper here.
We commemorated the 2-year anniversary of Dobbs, wherein women across our country have been denied emergency health care.
All that may be true. All that may be true. But the president of the United States was not able to make that case to Donald Trump on the stage tonight. I mean, you debated against then Vice President Vice President Biden 4 years ago, and he was a very different person on the stage 4 years ago when you debated him.
Yeah, so he's confronting her about, again, the mental faculty at that time, and she's obviously very mad. This is what Democrats do, by the way. Democrats have a hard time admitting when to take the L and when to move on, and which is why you saw her lose the way she lost in the first place. But yeah, this is not a nice person. She's not a nice grandma or mother. Is she? I don't even know. Does she have kids, grandkids? I'm not sure. I know I've heard she didn't. But apparently in a new book, again, Democrats in a civil war with each other, because we got new books coming out of everywhere. And apparently a lot of people are snitching on each other this time when they could have addressed it when they should have. But apparently we got Alex Thompson here, who is the co-author of The Original Sin with Jake Tapper. And the new book, Dems shocked at the decline of Joe Biden. They stay quiet. And here he is exposing what happened between Anderson Cooper and Kamala Harris, because she got pressured and she wanted to talk about everything else except what was eventually going to end up hers in the second place, which is she was going to end up running for president because Joe Biden's health was so bad.
Relative to Vice President Kamala Harris, she has an interview with Anderson Cooper post-debate. You write about this in the book. By the way, I've got to do an eats, shoots, and leaves. If you remember the book and the importance of punctuation, I've got to do an eats, shoots, and leaves analysis of one graph of your book, Alex. And it comes on page 290, and it's getting a lot of attention today. This MFer doesn't treat me like the damn vice president of the United States, she said to colleagues. I thought we were better than that. I'm being real persnickety now, but there are not quotation marks around that in the book. Is that a direct quote from Kamala Harris about Anderson Cooper?
I will go back to my copy, but my understanding is that it is that she was incredibly frustrated with Anderson Cooper asking the same question over and over again, which Anderson Cooper, this was the night of the debate. Anderson was like, have you ever seen him act that way behind the scenes? Because if the vice president of the United States had seen the president act that way on, behind the scenes as he had acted on the debate stage and said nothing, I think it would have been incredibly indicting. But, Kamala Harris, I can tell you 100% was infuriated.
She was mad and losing her mind because she was getting asked tough questions. Have you ever watched a Trump interview? And she literally, like a cartel boss member, said, he's not treating me like the vice president. Like, I'm the boss. He's not treating me the way I want to be treated. What? This is the type of stuff that comes out later on that, again, many people on the right called out. Like, hey, we're noticing these weird behaviors. These people are acting kind of crazy, man. They're acting very suspicious. The fact that they're in their reality, their world. Joe Biden was perfectly healthy until he wasn't. But that interview, she literally comes out and says some of the craziest things. Did you guys see that? Like, this mother effer doesn't treat me like the damn vice president of the United States. Why? Because he asked you questions? Yo, if Trump were caught saying that, by the way, they make everything Trump says and does, they tweak out over that, right? But the fact of the matter is, she felt that because she was the vice president, that she should be asked the question that every American that day was feeling. Every American was feeling that way. Like, whoa, man. Like, if you're a lifelong Democrat and you're rooting for progressivism or liberalism to win in the general election, you're watching that debate, you have those same questions. And he asked, hey, have you seen this behind closed doors? What's going on? Like, why are you guys not speaking up about this? And she said, this mother effer doesn't treat me like the vice president that I am. So she wanted a princess treatment. She didn't want the hard questions. And again, it just goes back to proving the points that we've all been proven of why we didn't vote for those individuals. They lie about everything. They've lied about everything as a collective together. Not small lies, gibberish lies. Nah, you're lying about someone's health. You're lying about what's in front of you. You're lying about policies. You're lying about everything. Like this is unfortunately, for people that have been Democrats their whole lives, this must be heartbreaking news to also then find out that the person you were voting for just didn't like hard questions and felt like she was entitled to not have someone hold her accountable. This is the type of politics that we've now come across to. And then she's on stage making jokes about being unemployed as if she doesn't even know why she's unemployed. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on when it comes to the Democrats, what their next moves are. But I think we should keep Kamala Harris very far away if you're a Democrat. If not, well, you keep doing what you do. I'm not going to be voting that way anyway, so we're good.